go, and then you'll have your 1 minute opening.
Candidates ready for the fight. Voices loud, they take the stand. Who will lead the promised land? Promises flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Who you hear, the people's voice. It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Words are weapons wielded, strong debates get heated. Right or wrong, they paint the town with visions bold. Who will rise, who will fold? Shadows linger, truth will stand. The battle rages from within. One by one they state their case, but only one can win this race. Who will lead this, win this race? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. We'll see. Promises flying, hearts ignite.
Hey, Aura, welcome to It's in the Ballot. I'm your host, Nick Hollander, and today with me I have Ben Laybourne running for the Carterton Councilors at Large, show number 2. Run credits. Or not. You can listen to the soothing sound. Oh gosh, we're live. So, all right. We'll do that. Welcome back. All right, Ben, would you like to start with your 1 minute opening? With your opening statement. No time restrictions for you.
Excellent. Kia ora koutou, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. My name's Ben Laybourne. I'm running for local council. I've been living in Carterton for close to 20 years now. My kids have gone to school here. They've gone to Southend School and Kurunui College. I've worked locally. I work in education. I've been a teacher and now doing work across the country helping schools improve. My skill set sits in that leadership, building team, solving complex problem space. And that's what I'm hoping to bring to council. Help us work as an effective team to make decisions for the district. Yeah, kia ora.
Thank you, Ben. Oh, I've gotten louder. All right. If you could bring that to council, that would be advantageous to say the least. All right, so we're going to do this a little differently. Because I have Ben all to myself here, we'll just go through some questions. Yeah, yeah, cool. All right. Let us press random buttons and see what happens. So,
good place to start.
Yeah, all right. How would you foster collaboration between councillors to ensure effective governance?
I think the key idea behind collaboration is having tikanga, or a way of working together, and looking at the candidates. I think that we all are thinking about the same problems in similar ways, and so working as a team will be part of that. Establishing team norms and how we talk about issues and how we make decisions is going to be important. I think across the candidates, we've got a diverse set of skills and views, and that'll help us figure our way forward. We're all focusing on the same problems. Rates is big on the agenda, and we all want to keep that as low as possible. So working our way through problem solving on that will be paramount.
Yeah, no, well said. I had the privilege of meeting a few of the other candidates running a bit earlier. Do you think you'd be able to work well with any of them? I mean, or
The simple answer is yes, actually. I love working with different people and figuring out how people tick and working with that, whatever that is. So yeah, I have a long history of working with interesting teams, and we make progress. Yes.
yeah, as long as you're not going backwards,
That's right. Absolutely.
that's the main thing.
It's the ability to listen to people and hear their perspective and consider their perspective, but also share your own as part of that.
Yeah. You need to be heard as well.
I think the listenings, and in fact, a lot of the questions, I was reading through the questions, and I think that the ability to listen and have a council that listens deeply is a key part of local politics.
Yeah, it has to be a two-way street, though.
Yeah, it does. Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's see what else we have here. Well, how would you address climate change impact? Nope.
No, that's a fine question.
That's
It's a
fine.
great question.
Okay,
Simple
I'll read
answer.
it. I'll read it for the
Go for it.
guys at home. How will you address climate change impacts such as flooding risk and drought resilience?
Yeah, it's a really tricky question. I don't think there's a simple answer for addressing climate change, given the nature of the unpredictability of what that looks like. If you think about the cyclones that have gone through in the last few years and the size of destruction that it caused, even when we sort of had an idea how big it was going to be. So I think that all we can do is plan for climate change. There's lots of models out there to help us think about what they'll look like in the future. And I think as a council, we've got to consider those models and understand the science very carefully. I think we've got to plan for flooding, like the flood stays around the Mangaterere River. It threatens, I think, a third of Carterton. It's significant.
Oh, that is.
And we've got to think through that carefully, so we've got resources and precautions in place. And like also drought resistance, water is a big issue in the Wairarapa. And we'll have a lot of conversations around provision, storage, and long-term sustainability of that as things effectively warm up.
Yeah. That's something you can do your best to prepare for, really.
Like I've talked about we had a presentation at Rotary the other evening, and I was talking about the long game and going, we don't want to think 10, 20 years, we need to think 50, 100 years. And so if we're thinking like that, we've got to be pretty careful in our modelling, for one, but also thinking what we can do now that will make that difference in that time.
Yep. And I would guess that it would be how future councillors would carry on with that plan.
Yeah,
would be
absolutely. So we have a 10-year plan and we review it every 3 years, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some planning in there that's slightly longer than 10 years.
Yeah.
I think that would be advantageous to the Wairarapa.
Yeah. As a council, thinking 10 years ahead is still kind of short term.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No. Thank you. All
Well, in
right.
terms of climate, absolutely. Sure.
Oh, yeah. In terms of climate, it's very short term. Yeah. All right. All right. Oh, I already asked you that, so let's go for a different one. All right.
Okay, I can answer this.
All right. What experience or skills do you bring to ensure sound financial governance and decision making for those at home?
Yeah, so I'm a teacher by trade, but a few years back I realised there was a lot about finance I didn't realise, so I ended up doing my financial advisory papers. So I'm actually a qualified financial advisor and run a couple of businesses effectively in Carterton. So yeah, I've got a financial acumen, you could say, and things are running well for myself and family. So I do have background. I practiced briefly as a financial advisor, but didn't transition into that industry.
Yeah.
I stayed in what I was doing, which was far more satisfying.
Yeah. If you love what you how about this? I will very quickly do this because Ben is at the top. Try that.
All good? You still can hear me? Good.
And can you hear me? All right. Practice with my 99-year-old grandmother. I am able to project well. Sorry.
So just in terms of financial governance and decision making, I think that at the heart of the issues for Carterton and probably most councils is rates and keeping rates down and manageable. And so the other side of that equation is going, okay, we have capital and we have assets and we've got to make some money. So there's a lot of conversation around revenue streams and how the council can make more money to meet those expenses. And alongside that is that long-term plan of going, oh, we need money in the future. So it's not a straightforward equation at all. It is quite complex. And I think that as I get into it, it'll be quite interesting problem to get my head around.
And the more you have to deal with it, I like to think the better you will be able to deal with it as well.
I think so. It's I was reading through all the numbers that the council has.
And that's a lot of numbers.
There is a lot of numbers there, and you realise that it's not straightforward. But you've got to be very careful of that governance. You're taking care of a community, and you've got to do that very well.
Yeah. And I personally think it's unrealistic for rates to go down.
I think it would be a very brave council to lower rates. I think the best we can do is plateau them.
Successfully.
Yeah.
Low. Yeah. With the price of living and everything constantly going up.
Yeah. So it's how you reduce that increase or plateau them for a length of times. Once again, it's complex, but if you could achieve that, that'd be awesome.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. And having a financial background would certainly help.
It would be interesting to lean into that problem. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. All right. So what are your thoughts on rate capping?
So this is rate capping as the government stepping in and capping rates. Let's just be really clear on what you're asking there.
It is based on the campaign run by both government and the taxpayers union.
Yeah. So no, I'm not for it. I think it's got to stay with local council control. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So to answer that fully, in Australia it hasn't worked. They've been hit by other levies and fees outside the rates. Even though the rates were capped, they've been hit with other expenses. So if you look internationally and go, did it work? The evidence is no. So I'd keep it under local control.
Yeah.
Also, Birmingham, it led to the Birmingham City Council going bankrupt.
Okay.
I see. So there we go. We have two different countries, similar outcomes.
Yeah.
Both negative. Would someone be able to get that door, Sam? Thank you. We'd like.
Excellent. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Good. All right. So let's go on to another one. All right. Sound good?
Yeah, I think this is a good one. Go for it.
Yep. So how will you work with regional partners to improve connectivity for residents commuting to other Wairarapa towns or Wellington?
What springs to mind, of course, is the good old railways. Yeah.
Not surprised.
I think there's more on this question as well, though. It involves local buses, even cycleways is part of this question. I think the collaboration with the local councils, the 4 local councils, will increase. That brings up the question of amalgamation. We'll come to that later.
Yep.
But in terms of how we work together as 4 local councils to improve that interconnectivity is important.
Yeah.
I think there's scope for vast improvement for the local networks, for buses, trains. Trains is more complicated. I'm hoping NZ Rail step up with all their plans.
Yes, dependent on them.
Yes, and then
really.
that, of course, brings in the Wellington Regional Council part of that conversation, and NZTA with what they could do potentially long term with the Hill Road. So once again, this question is quite big. There's a number of factors that need to be worked through, but I think in terms of collaboration with the other councils, that's key.
Yep.
And having those solid conversations, and once again coming up with good long term plans.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. It does. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, all right. How will you address broadband and internet connectivity issues in rural parts of the district?
For this question, I'm not entirely sure it's the council's responsibility for that. I think that the council can influence that. What we do have is we have the main fibre coming up the centre of our main road, which is fantastic. But the question is focused on the rural parts of the district. And so for that connection, you're probably looking at various companies that can provide that provision.
Private infrastructure.
Yeah, private infrastructure. That doesn't stop the council from having a chats with those people.
No.
And I think that's where we potentially could come to the party and reach out to those companies that could provide and figure out some solutions.
Yeah. Now I remember speaking with someone, and they quoted a very large number for having it 70 grand.
Oh wow.
Yeah, to get fibre to their door.
Yeah, you will not do fibre in some of these connections.
No.
Like some of the satellite connections these days are far more effective. Directional. I don't know all the details, but, I think as a person on the council, if you came to me on the council and said, how do we do this? Our job would then go, okay, we'll talk to these people to enable you to figure it out.
Actually find out the best way to do it.
I've got a number of friends that are farmers, and I'm going, I wonder how they connect, you know?
Yeah. Oh, it's not always what you know.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know.
All right. So.
Yeah, fine.
All right. So, Carterton residents are concerned about rates. How will you balance affordability with the need for infrastructure investment?
Once again, that's that complex balance, eh? So we've got the needs of now, like we need our roads smooth. We need our sewer working. We expect water to be in our taps. That's the immediate. We've got that future of making the place sustainable, safe, provision for the long term of more infrastructure, greater capacity, better delivery. And we've got the balance of, okay, how do we pay for all that? So it comes back to that rates question of going, how do we make sure that does not increase too fast? And we use the capital and finances that we have available to meet the needs of that infrastructure investment. Carterton is going to grow. It is growing. There is need for more subdivisions, more housing, and that requires more investment by private individuals, developers. So council work on having a district plan that enables that. Part of that district plan is that growth of infrastructure. So it's all into place. It's that interconnection between council policy and investment from developers, effectively, because that will lead to the growth. They've set aside the east side of town for development, but ultimately they'd like to infill the lands that aren't built yet. There's quite a bit of land to the south of the town that could be built up and subdivided. So yeah, I think that affordability balance, you've got the rates, then you've also got the contributions from developers that enable quite a bit of that infrastructure to be built. And then you've got capacity of water systems and sewage plants that you've got to think through.
They can only handle or give so much.
That's right, yeah. So in terms of our sewer plant, we're ahead of the game.
Yes, that's
we've done some really good work down there. And if you look at what we've got compared to some of the other local areas, we're well positioned for that growth.
Yeah, future-proofed very well.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, let's have a look. Nope.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's go for that.
All right. So what steps will you take to protect Carterton's natural environment while allowing for growth and development?
I think this is it's an interesting question and an important question. Like, we have a number of, I guess, environmental areas around Carterton that we'd like to protect, to maintain. Carter's Reserve is a possibility. Fincham Reserve is another ones that you're going. These are jewels in the landscape. If you think about I think it was mudfish when they did they tried to protect those a little unsuccessfully, but they did relocate them. I think one part of this question is identifying those natural environments that we do want to protect. The other is figuring out a plan of how to setting them aside, putting protective fences or whatever around them.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's really important that we do maintain those important environments. The mountains, the rivers, they're amazing. We want to keep our waterways fresh, clean, cold. We want the native fish to be thriving, and that means we probably need to do some work around and alongside the waterways in terms of planting.
Yep,
And what that looks like.
riparian-
Yeah, that's right.
riparian belts.
And so there is work happening in that area. We could do a lot more in that space. The Rumahanga is not the greatest of cleanliness of rivers. We could do more along that space as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's once again a conversation across the councils.
Yeah, not just one.
No,
yeah.
that's right.
Now, just a little segue. The Karori Wildlife Reserve in Wellington, they have done a very good job of creating a fence around the whole
I'm very,
area.
very aware of it. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And I realized was handmade, but it is very effective. Unfortunately, that would equal costly. But yeah, things like that are available and done in New Zealand.
It's a question of it's a council responsibility or not.
Yeah.
So, for example, Wellington, I think the Wellington Council put money into that. I think they did. But they're highly successful. I was just talking to a colleague the other day who had kiwi just up the road in Karori. Like, they've released kiwi back into the natural environment, which is amazing. And I don't know if we could achieve such a thing over here, but it would be pretty awesome if we could.
Yeah.
I do notice the number of native birds over here is quite high. There's a lot of kiriru and tui around at the moment, which is fantastic. So I think maintaining and growing the bird populations is a good goal.
Yeah, try and hold on to what you've got.
Yes.
And increase.
And that comes immediately into the regional council responsibility of land management and pest management.
Yeah, because pest management is an art of its own.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we have. Oh, how will you ensure transparency and accountability in council decision making?
Yeah, good question. I think there's a number of ways it's done already. So minutes are available. You can join meetings to hear discussion. Occasionally they go into session which is in confidence, but that's not so often. I think one thing that I'd like to do is make sure that there are forums where the community can express back or talk back to the council about issues. I talked about listening earlier. I think that's part of this transparency going. We want to be able to share what's happening in our meetings. We want to have input, and we want to hear what you guys think. That opportunity to be heard is critical, and I'd like to help all sectors of the community do that effectively, including the young people. People that might be on the edges.
Yes.
If that's the way to say it.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And I also think part of that, there's another question around inclusion of iwi and hapu. I think that's part of how do we involve the tangata whenua in those conversations. I think Carterton District Council does that reasonably well already, but there's always room for improvement going. How do we get people's perspective on any matter, and how do we share what we're talking about with them?
Yeah, well said. Well said. Yeah, and I think it also comes down to people have to meet you halfway to an extent.
Yeah.
You can't be expected to do 100% of the work. Even if you come to people and they're not willing to listen, that's still a barrier. But
if you are willing to listen,
yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah.
And often that'll overcome the barriers. It's fascinating talking to people about council that they have a mindset of what council does and does not do, and sometimes just listening through that to find out what the council can actually do for them is important.
Yeah, quite enlightening.
Yes.
Yeah, no, people do. Some people have a preconceived notion of these things. Yeah.
Go for it. Let's do this one.
Yes, all right. Yep. With the rising cost of living, what strategies will you support to keep rates affordable while still delivering core services? Yeah,
comes back to the same question of how do we keep those rates down, and it's defining what delivery of core services is, and as as a community member, you have expectation of service. You expect your rubbish to be picked up. You expect water. You expect your sewer to go down the sewer and disappear from your section. There are certain basics that you would expect. On the other side, there's other questions around what is want to have, the stuff that the community want that sits in the council's expenses plate.
Yeah.
For example, the event centre is a fantastic asset, and we would never get rid of it. It's a want to have, but it's a necessary want to have. It's part of our community. There are other parts that we may be able to go, well, that's not a necessary part of the expenses. And so figuring out those core services that community expect, I think we can do that, and then figure out the other stuff.
Yeah, the most important want to have.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that? Thank you. Do you that one?
Yeah, let's try and play with this one. This is a finance question itself.
Do you support borrowing to fund major infrastructure, or should we focus on a pay-as-you-go model?
It's a tricky question, that one. It's really hard to build big stuff without borrowing money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to bankrupt or put too much pressure or risk on the council in terms of repayment of that debt. So I think if you're a yes/no answer from me, I'd say I'm probably okay with borrowing, provided it's done very safely and you have a plan. Yeah. It comes down to repaying that loan, repaying that house mortgage. You've got to be able to afford it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, let's see what we.
Let's give it a shot.
All right. How will you support affordable housing and ensure it meets the needs of different community groups?
Okay, so first up, the council in Carterton doesn't build housing. What they manage is the district plan and ensure that that's met and respected. So housing is ultimately built by developers, which have to follow the district plan and meet the code. So the only way that we can increase affordable housing is, reducing section size fundamentally, enabling more houses to be built, which reduces the amount of land used, and enabling smaller units to be built. So the current changes with the building code enable smaller houses to be built.
Yeah.
So that's advantageous. Building apartments instead of 3-bedroom homes is another way of solving that problem. So it comes down to what people are prepared to build in Carterton, and if the council gives permission for that. So you'll notice there are more apartments being built in Carterton, smaller living areas with not so much land, which is great to see because that is giving more affordable housing to people. Different community groups. Not quite sure how to answer that part, but yeah.
Well, you've answered the other very well, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, smaller section size, more housing. Yeah, that seems quite logical to me. Yeah,
I think I've answered this one, but just we'll answer it quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So, what new tools or processes would you introduce to make council more transparent and accountable to the community?
So, thinking about the tools or processes, I think currently. There's parts of this question I'm not certain of. I haven't done enough homework, but in terms of how we use social media as a council to get feedback from the community, I wonder if there's possibility for development there. I'm very keen to create forums where different groups of the community can have a voice, and explore that with people, not making people come to us, but going to them in different ways. I think there was a question, we might come to it, but how do we engage with the iwi and whānau? I think that's really important. We go out and sit down at the marae and have a chat and talk through what they want to tell us and their contribution. I think that would be great to even sit down with the school and talk to the kids about their perspective of Carterton. I think that there's a number of groups for older people or friends of Carterton or Grey power, we're going out and sitting down with them is far more powerful than expecting them to come to a presentation.
Yeah.
It's far more human. If I sit down and have a cup of tea with you, I'll probably know you a bit better.
Yeah. Putting a human face on the council, I think, can make a positive difference.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an us-them situation. It's we're in this together, and it's local. It's we're here to make this community better.
Yeah, it's Carterton. Yeah. Oh, good. All right, let's see if we can get another couple, and then we'll go on to hard hitting.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, what is your vision for economic growth in Carterton, and how will you support local businesses and job creation?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of avenues here. Like, I'd love to see the main street better developed. Like, there's a couple of sections there where they've knocked down the buildings. Really need someone to invest into that, and make their path easy to build it. I mean, that means the council working with those developers in a proactive way to build stuff.
Get developers to want to build.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I think the council does very well at that. Personally, I'm developing the Royal Oak pub, which is down the south end of town. So that's my project of making Carterton a better place. And the council's amazing working with me on that project.
That's good to hear.
They're very, very helpful. And given it's a historic building, we've got to meet all the necessary things, but they help me work through that, which is very cool.
It's not your standard.
No, it's not at all.
Project.
But into thinking wider, I do think we need more business in Carterton. It would be great to encourage business. I'm not quite sure how to do that. We do have the internet connection going right up our main road, so that's huge. Like, if we could set up an industrial park that people could set up small businesses in, you probably have some takers from Wellington going, that's a definite option. Yeah. There's things like that we need to explore, and if we can create opportunity like that for businesses, then you got job creation. Yeah, and it's you almost want to get a bit of a think tank going on that sort of stuff for Carterton. Yeah. I think specifically you get the right, some of the right businesses in, but it will, if you build it, they will come. That's right. Yeah.
Almost to coin a old movie. All right. Nope.
So
how would you strengthen relationships with central government and neighbouring councils to get the best outcomes for Carterton District Council?
So I'll focus on the neighbouring councils in this question. I think that in terms of cost-wise, and this has already been thought about and explored, in terms of costs, we do need to collaborate better as four councils. As soon as I say that word amalgamation's kicked around, and there's pros and cons to amalgamation. The pro is you'll probably save a bunch of money by having less people doing the same amount of jobs effectively. You could have efficiency, maybe. Our council, Carterton Council, is incredibly well run at the moment. They've done some benchmarking and evaluation, and they come out on top. They are really responsive. They're efficient. They make decisions quickly. They get consents back to builders and developers fast. They meet their timelines. They fix problems. I had a problem in the road last Easter, actually. I went out on the road and there was a hole in the road. Yep. And it was Easter Saturday, and I rang the council. Within 20 minutes, someone from the council had come out to look at that hole in the road, and they'd filled it by the end of that afternoon, so it was safe. Wow. And then after Easter, so it must have been Easter Tuesday, they had a roading team out fixing that hole. Now, that's pretty impressive.
That's very impressive. No matter how you look at it, that's...
So wow. you don't want to lose that quality of local council. Being responsive. Yeah. So amalgamation, if you can retain that quality.
Yeah. Well, amalgamating.
And it will be a winner. But if you amalgamate and lose that efficiency and effectiveness, that's the downer.
You're losing, part of Carterton.
You are. You would. Yeah.
And that would be a shame.
So I think that to strengthen those relationships between the other councils, I think there's things happening there already. the local water done well is in that space. Ruamahanga Roads is part of the roading team that's in that space as well. I think looking for opportunities to collaborate is a short-term win before we step to that amalgamation end result.
Do the groundwork.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't know so much about central government. I think at the moment they're trying to make decisions that local councils don't like. So that would be interesting to explore.
Yeah. All right. And let's see if we can find one more, and then we'll do some. Nope. Well, no.
We've sort of covered that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've covered them. How do we go to the hard hitting?
Okay, let's go to the hard hitting. So all right, we are going to move on to hard hitting questions. We've got a graphic.
Hard hitting questions. We don't need to put in one does a question because every candidate has answered the hard hitting questions.
All right, welcome back from that short break. We're going to start off with hard-hitting question number 1. Do you support the introduction of targeted rates for specific projects? Why or why not?
My answer to that is no, I don't support targeted rates. I think that we've got to really consider our rates carefully and make sure it's equitable across the region.
Yep. Short and sweet.
Mhm.
Nice. All right, hard-hitting question number 2. Are you comfortable with the way the council manages its debt position?
I think at the moment, first up, I'm not certain on their full amount of debt, but I think with any decision that's financial, you've got to be really careful about their future planning of that debt. And based on my knowledge of where the council is at the moment, there are some big decisions that need to be thought through carefully about where debt is used or not used. Hence, going back to the question we answered earlier.
Yeah.
Yep.
And hard-hitting question number 3. How will you strengthen engagement with Maori communities, including Mana Whenua and Maori wards?
So we don't have a Maori ward in Carterton, but in terms of Mana Whenua, Ngāti Kahanunu and Ngāti Rangatane are the main iwi. They are quite proactive. I think that in terms of honouring Te Tiriti o Waitangi is really important. My background's in education, I mentioned that earlier, and in education we do a lot of work to help schools engage with iwi and hapu in a deep and meaningful way to understand what they want for their akonga and for their students. I think we have to do the same in council and sit down out at the marae and talk and understand what they want for their community. We're New Zealand, we're bicultural, we have a treaty that we need to uphold and respect. And I think that as we navigate that, there's stuff we need to learn. There's ways of being we may need to shift slightly. But ultimately we want to help Māori be Māori and uphold their mana. I see that as a key part of being a New Zealander. And it's really great to see our kids understanding tikanga and te ao Māori more and more. I look at the transition from my kids over the years, and they're far more bicultural than I was at that age.
Yeah.
And I'd love to encourage Carterton to have a more bicultural view. Pākehā white view is quite dominant.
Yes.
And I'm very respectful to sit down and understand the Māori perspective. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. And just as a quick note, even since I've started doing this show, I think my vocabulary, my Maori vocabulary has increased significantly, as well as my pronunciation. I have a very good tutor.
Excellent. I think it's really important that we speak basic te reo. I think we've got to pronounce it right. We've got to understand basic tikanga. It's respectful.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, our Western culture's dominated for years. I think understanding Māori culture in New Zealand is important.
No, thank you very much. Would you like to give a closing statement?
Yeah, this has been fun though.
Yeah? All right. Well, I'm not going to put a gun to your head and make you.
Just having this opportunity to ramble my way through a number of these questions has been really, really interesting, inspiring, and hopefully I've answered them well enough for the people that are watching and that will watch. All the best, and make good decisions about who you vote for.
Well said. Well said. All right. Well, I'd like to thank everyone here. Our one that turned up, Ben, number 1. All right. Hey, thank you, Laura, Stacy, Sam, and myself. As well, you're welcome. You're welcome. As well as our audience out there in the ether. All right. We'll be back. We should be back for 7 p.m. for the mayoral debate.
If someone turns up right.
Otherwise, I will see you next time.
Thank you. One way to get my voice out there.